Well, good evening, and welcome to Sweet Blessings, the Anna L. Brothers Show and Podcast, where we inspire, we encourage, and we empower you to live a fulfilling and blessed lifestyle. I'm Anna. I'm your host. I am a retired school teacher and educational consultant. I am an author. I'm also a jury consultant, a health consultant, and I dibble and dabble in the beauty of jewelry. Okay, so I bring to you. Oh, and I'm also a cake certified cake instructor. Okay, so I bring to you a wealth of knowledge and experience to our conversations. So each week or each episode, we delve into topics that can kind of enrich our lives. It can be from educational to personal development to health and wellness. And of course, we're not going to forget about the art of jewelry. So this is done by workshops. Sometimes I have guests come in and speak who are experts on different topics, and sometimes they just have a message that they want to kind of get across. I'm here as a platform. I don't vote in favor of any of these things, but I feel like it is my duty to let people know what is out here. And since I've been out here, I have found out a lot of things that I still don't know, and I'm an old girl. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me. I got a little. I don't know. Is it raining where you are? It is storming here, so hopefully we're going to keep our fingers crossed that this does not cut off, because it is severe thunder warnings in my area. So I'm thankful. So I'm glad that you are joining me as we explore inspiring stories, expert insights, and personal advice to help you live a blessed and fulfilling lifestyle. So thank you again for tuning in to Sweet Blessings, where every conversation is a treasure. So we're going to get started this evening. I'm doing a new series, you all. It is called Coffee, Cake, and Conversations with Anna. Just trying to get you to be engaging. Okay. Sometimes I'm out here all by myself, and I want you to engage. I want to know how you feel, and I think that some of my listeners want to know how you feel as well. So if you are just tuning in, I will say welcome to Coffee, Cake, and Conversations with Anna, where we gather around a table. I'm around my computer, but to share stories, laughter, lessons, and blessings. So I'm your host. I'm Anna L. Brothers, and tonight we're talking about something that's very close to my heart: cake. Oh dear, you hear me laughing because now if you follow me for any length of time, you know that baking and cake decorating has been an important part of my journey. Through Sweet Lasteen's desserts and teaching cake decorating classes, I've learned that every cake tells a story. And if these cakes could talk, oh my goodness, the stories they will tell. So let's pour our coffee. I'm not drinking coffee tonight. I am drinking lemonade. okay? And you drink your beverage of choice. Get a beverage. I need this one because I've been out in the yard and you hear me sounding nasal tonight, unfortunately, okay? So, let's pour our coffee, lemonade, tea, whatever you're drinking, and let's dive into tonight's conversation. So I'm going to bring up my first segment is every cake has a story. You know, that's what I'm calling. But let me bring up my presentation. If these cakes could talk, life lessons from the kitchen, the cake table, and beyond. Oh, stop. So let's think about it. Most cakes are for special occasions, whether it's a birthday, a wedding, a baby shower, graduation, retirement celebration. People gather around a cake during the most important moments of their lives. A cake is rarely a dessert. It's often part of a memory. What's a cake you remember from your childhood? Well, I want you, I'm asking these questions and I want you to make the comments. Wherever you are, you can comment. So we have, I'm going to put this on. Sometimes you all know I'm a senior. And I cannot pronounce that. But they're saying hello. But I want you to participate. So think about it. What's a cake you remember from your childhood? I grew up in the South, and I can remember them making coconut cakes. I'm seriously with fresh coconut, where they would go and get the coconut and crack it, get the milk out of it, shred it, and everything. That would be the coconut. Oh, that is the best cake. When I got, I'm a baker, but that was one of the very first cakes that I made when I got to be an adult, because that was the best cake to me. Now, a lot of people don't like coconut, but I love coconut. I like different types of fruit, and I like baking with different types of fruit. So if you have a cake that you remember from your childhood, jot it down in the comment section wherever you are, and it will show up on this because this is a live stream. So let's move on. I want to talk a little bit more about the reflection. So maybe it was a birthday cake, maybe it was a wedding cake, or a cake your grandmother used to make. Now, it wasn't my grandmother that made it. It was my aunts or uncles. Oh, Lord Jesus. And butter, Lord, with butter, black walnut ice cream. Oh, my God. So, homemade ice cream, you all. Do you hear me? So, I grew up with that. We always had desserts. Somebody was always, making a cake or something, because, after dinner, or even, if somebody came by, we were able to offer them, a slice of cake. So, chances are you remember the people rather than the recipe. Okay. I didn't remember the recipe. I had to find that recipe. And baby, when I found it in this Southern cookbook, and I'm going to tell you all right now, the book is no longer in print. Oh, Lord have mercy. My book is almost torn up because I have used it so much. But I love this book so much that I bought one for my mother, and I gifted it to her. So now I have two. Hers is in mint condition, okay? But that's okay. That's okay. She really was not a baker. She was more of a gourmet cook. You know, they say I'm like my grandma. My grandmother, they say, was more of a baker. I love to bake, and I've been baking, you all, since I was about 6 years old. You know, where somebody would be in the kitchen with me, but I've been baking that long. You know, and if you do something, but I was not a decorative baker. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you, but I could bake, and I still can bake. You know, so what life lessons did we learn from this? And I can say, people matter more than things. People matter more than things. The memories we create with others last longer than anything money can buy. The memories we create with others last longer than any money can buy. So we're going to take a little brief commercial right here, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to talk a little bit about cake disasters and patience. Well, I don't know. I think we might be affected by the rain, you all. I don't know.
One, two, three. Quiero separarme de ti, ni siquiera un momento. No quiero perder el tiempo.
All right. I am back. And before I left, we were talking about every cake. Every cake has a story. So now what I want to delve into is, have you ever baked a cake and it was a disaster? Huh? Would you admit it? Because I'm going to admit mine. Let's be honest, okay? Not every cake comes out perfect. Let me bring my little slide back up. See, not every cake disasters and life disasters, are they similar? Let me tell you all, I have had a cake that leaned. Okay, I've had decorations that broke, and I've had icing that refused to cooperate. Have you had those things happen to you when you're baking? Well, sometimes life feels that way. Let me tell you all how I became a decorative baker. And some of you may have heard this story before. But my mother turned 75. It's so ironic because I'm turning 75 this year. But my mother turned 75, and I wanted to give her a 75th birthday party. Now, mind you, I could bake. Because remember, I told you I've been baking and cooking different desserts and everything since probably the age of 6. In fact, I have shown in my cake things that the cake book I saved it, you all. It's a treasure. It's probably an antique now, but my first cookbook. Now I do collect cookbooks. I'm trying to get myself together so that I can get rid of them because I make one recipe in it and then I let it go. But I don't let the book go. I just put it up on the shelf. So I have a collection of cookbooks. So when I was taking this class, not the class, but baking the cake for my mother, and I had designed it and everything. Well, it was like a sheet cake, but it had like a mountain with looked like a volcano, and it was down, coming down the sides. Oh, it was gorgeous when I finally got it. But I'm gonna tell you all, I had to bake that cake 3 times. 3 times. I don't know what it was each time. The first time I think it was just too hot, and I took it out the pan too soon, and it just fell apart. And the next time the icing didn't work. Oh, it was just awful. So I did it 3 times, but needless to say, she did get a cake. So just because something doesn't go according to plan, I want you to remember this. It doesn't mean that it's ruined. Sometimes the imperfections become part of the story. And so when I say this, that is one of the main reasons. That's my why for teaching cake decorating. You want to know what to do when that cake leans. You want to know how to make that icing consistency, the right consistency. Okay? So, don't, and sometimes we are our worst critic, but I'm trying to tell you, just because something doesn't go according to plan, doesn't mean that it's ruined. And that's my specialty, teaching people how to make corrections so their cake still looks beautiful. So when I tell people that I teach people to decorate like a pro, that is what I do. Because we all make mistakes. Now, the next thing is very important, and that is patience. And sometimes I want you to know that patience makes the difference. On things baking has taught me is patience. It should be one thing that it's taught me is to be patient. You can't rush a cake. Mm-mm. You cannot bake it for half the time and expect full results. No, it's just not gonna work. And guess what? Life works the same way. Growth takes time. Healing takes time. Success takes time. Sometimes we are in such a hurry that we forget beautiful things often develop slowly. Is there something in your life right now that requires patience? It's something in my life that requires patience. I am not computer literate. And sometimes, there's a few programs that when I come onto the computer, it takes them a long, long time to boot up. And I become impatient. One of those programs is Zoom. I'm going to send them a little note because it takes forever. The Zoom is usually over. I have to start 30 to 40 minutes ahead of time to get on the Zoom so that I can be on when they come in. That drives me crazy. And sometimes I have difficulty, on my streaming as well. And that's frustrating. I have, I'm not going to lie to you. I had to give my podcast the next day. That's how bad the communication was. But the devil is a lie. I still did it because that's in my character. And that's what it's all about. Okay? You're going to have those ups and downs, all those kinds of things, people doing doing all kinds of things. So, I just told you that I have a dessert business. It was really, really doing well until COVID hit. And you know how they put out, you couldn't go nowhere, you couldn't do this, everything. Well, anyway. But I still do workshops and I still bake and I do lessons as well. So I want to kind of tell you what that has taught me, doing what Sweet Lasteen's lessons were for me. Everybody has different ones that they learn. So as I reflect on my years of baking and teaching others, I've learned some really valuable lessons. You want to follow the recipe, but don't be afraid to be creative. Put your own spin in it. What's wrong with that? That's how new things are developed. Mistakes are part of learning. Please remember that. Mistakes are part of learning. These are lessons that I learned with Sweet. And I taught for cake decorating along with teaching school, y'all, for over 20 years. Seriously. Practice makes progress. And I would tell my students that even both of them in the school system as well as my cake decorating students, and the transformation of when they first started and when they end that class, and each class was different, I had different classes, was amazing. Was amazing, which was unusual for most people. But I took time with them, and I had lots of classes with lots of them, 12, 13. I could only take 15, I think, but I had large classes, and I taught children as well. This is with the cake decorating, um, and just remember that every masterpiece starts with simple ingredients. That's it. I don't care how you bake your cake, and I don't care what you use. That's your preference. But I would always tell my students, use a variety of things. That's how you learn. So I love cooking from scratch because, and I'll tell you why, because that's how I grew up. That was my environment. The women in my family cooked from scratch. Remember I just told you the coconut cake, and they got the coconut, put the holes in it, drained the milk. I remember those experiences. But don't get me wrong, I will use a box cake as well. So there's variations, and you should try that. And I even use cake flour. So I always tell people, try different things. What I teach was really the basics. You take that basic and run with it. And I'm so happy to say that I've had quite a few students who took those basics and ran with them. And they have been very, very successful. And just remember that a little sweetness can brighten someone's day. You know. And that's so true. I remember when I was teaching, and I was on the hospitality committee or whatever, and we always, for each holiday, we would give each of the teachers something, and they really, really appreciated that, because sometimes you can be teaching, and it's just how things go. But how can we apply this to life? Because I can tell you right now that these same things that I learned here are the same things that's true in life. We don't have to be perfect. We just have to keep growing. We don't have to be perfect. We just have to keep growing. So, a little cake. I'm going to have to bake me a cake. Cake, coffee, talk, questions. Coffee, talk, questions. So, if your favorite dessert could tell a story about your life, what would it say? I think I'm going to take a commercial. I'm going to let y'all think about that. And I don't care if you think about it, please write it down. If your favorite dessert could tell a story about your life, what would it say? And you can comment in the comment section of this stream. If you're on YouTube, you can comment on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, you can comment on Facebook. And I think I'm on Twitter, I think, or X, one of those as well. You can comment on there, and it will show up here. So let me take a brief commercial, and We'll be right back.
Oh my goodness, the mailman came. I hope my sweet Lassteen cookie's in here. I just hope it's in here. Let me see. Let me open this up. That's it. That's it. Sweet Lassteen cookies. That's sweet Lassteen cookies. Oh, I'ma have me a ball now. Let me just get this right here. Lassteen cookies. That's sweet Lassteen cookies. Oh yeah. I finally got my cookies. This sweet Lassteen cookies. Oh yeah. I'ma have fun. This package kinda big though. Man, it got a lot of cookies. Oh yeah, this the best day ever. I'm trying to tell you, I got my cookies, and I'm gonna eat these cookies, and ain't nobody gonna stop me. Wait, what?
Marie, what you doing, man? You can't have those cookies right now. I'm sorry, we about to eat dinner. Once we finish dinner, then you can have those cookies. Go ahead, put them up. Go ahead, put them up.
Are you serious, bruh? I got sweet Lassteen cookies, and now I gotta wait for dinner? Fine, can I leave?
All right, we are back. So I hope that you thought about that. I don't see any comments there. But that's okay because I am going to share a little information with you before we get off this evening. Um, I'm a do you remember the first cake you ever decorated? It was so long. It was so long ago for me, but I know I was small because my mother gave me this cookbook and it had pictures, y'all. And but she supervised it, but that was I don't remember decorating. I just remember making a cake. Okay. I don't remember. Like I said, decorating came along. I must have been about 50 years old when I started that. The funniest cake, this wasn't really a request, but when I got into cake decorating, I made a star cake of a bear, for my granddaughter. Oh, baby, my hands were so sore because, you really, in cake decorating, you use muscles in your hands that you haven't used in years, you all. And so you'll feel that because you have to learn how to regulate, your pressures and stuff when you're decorating. And that star was just like this all over. And I happened to pick a big one, okay? Lord have mercy, I remember that. My favorite cake flavor, I think it's champagne. I was privy one time to, I'm still in a couple of cake organizations. And you know why they share recipes, and they had this recipe for a champagne cupcake. And baby, it was delicious. But what I did with it, that's thunder. What I did with that champagne cupcake was I was creative. I followed the recipe, but I was creative and I made a cake. Do you hear me? My girlfriend, I got so many orders for that cake because she gave an event and she asked me to do a cake. The cake was gone like that. It is really a good icing. And I've made it. I don't make it often, but I have made it on one of my quilting events that I went out to. But yeah, I would say that would be my favorite cake flavor, because the cupcake is champagne flavor, and you cook it with champagne and gin, yeah. Ooh, I'm telling you my secrets. But it is delicious, you all. The most meaningful cake that I ever created was the one that I created for my mother. That was the most meaningful one because I wanted to do that, decorate her cake. And I do have pictures of it because the party was a nice and a success. She had a ball. All her friends came out, and they talked about my cake. But it was gorgeous, and I did the writing, everything. I was so proud because I only got into decorating late, and so I really had to practice, but it was good enough to for me to put on display as well. So before I go this evening, I want to leave you with a little blessing, a sweet blessing of the week. So may you remember this. Let me say this. May you remember that life doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. Sometimes the sweetest blessings come from unexpected ingredients. Imperfect moments and lessons learned along the way. So I want to say thank you this evening for listening and joining me for another episode of Coffee, Cake. You hear that thunder? And Conversation with Anna. I hope tonight's conversation reminds you that every story matters. Every lesson has a value. And every season of life has something to teach us. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, please subscribe or share it or follow me with a friend and invite them to join us at the table. Until next time, keep shining your light, keep sharing your blessings, and remember, life is a little sweeter when we take time to celebrate the journey. So I want to leave you with my 3 L's. You know what they are. Most of you do know what they are. The first one is live. Make sure you live your life, y'all. Live your life to the fullest. You only get one. Spread your blessings. The second thing is that you want to laugh. Laughter is so good for you. So make sure you laugh and make somebody else laugh too as well. The third thing is love. Love is important, y'all. Even in the Bible it says love everybody. But sometimes we love everybody and we don't love ourselves. So I just want to remind you that self-love is very important. So make sure you love yourself along the way. And always remember Matthew's 5:16 verse. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good work and glorify your Father in heaven. This is Anna L. Brothers, and I'll see you next time for another episode of Coffee, Cake, and a Conversation with Anna. Have a great one. Bye-bye.